The Nintendo Wii U is one of the best game consoles out there once modded. Adding custom firmware, also known as modding or hacking, turns your Wii U into a powerhouse system, boasting decades worth of games from a variety of Nintendo and non-Nintendo systems. Once modded, a plethora of features become unlocked, including running your game library from an external hard drive without the need for a disc, reactivating the online multiplayer capabilities of the Wii U system using the Pretendo network, and running Wii and GameCube games natively through a Homebrew app, and many more features. This guide is the most up-to-date way to mod your Wii U system and bring it into the new year. This guide shows the modding process step by step to set up your Wii U with the most up-to-date firmware and features. Separate guides to go along with this tutorial, like setting up game storage and covering features of the system, will be linked in the video description, and all organized on PenceFamilyGaming.com. PenceFamilyGaming.com is your go-to resource for console hacking videos, neatly organized to bring you the most up-to-date information along with frequently asked questions answered. Join us on the journey as we work towards completing Project Retro Revival, where we document the progress of bringing every console in our setup to the best it can be in the current year. From hacking, modding, upgrading, 3D printing, and more to come. One by one, each console will get its own full-depth guide video, so you can follow along and stay current with the new hacking methods. So how is this modding accomplished? Nintendo does their very best to prevent us from adding custom firmware, which is the hack to allow all of these incredible homebrew apps to run. Often abbreviated as CFW, it is exceptionally easy to install thanks to a large amount of homebrew developers out there. In our case, the creator of Aroma, which is the custom firmware we will use on the Wii U, was created by MassGel Dev along with the help of others. None of this would be possible without these brilliant minds spending their time creating these apps, so thank you to all the homebrew devs that made this possible. Links to the homebrew developers are in the video description. The Aroma custom firmware will be installed on your stock, unmodified Wii U. Aroma is installed via an internet browser exploit. Accessing a website grants access to the Wii U system security through an exploit allowing you to install new Wii U menu, which looks just like the stock one. Following this guide, you will lose no data and end up with everything that you started with, like games, saves, Nintendo ID, etc. I will also show how to remove the hacks in case you ever want to remove it later. The Wii U has a special feature in which it basically has a full Wii system built into the console. You can boot between the Wii U and Wii dashboards on the fly. Throughout this guide, the Wii side will be referred to as vWii or Virtual Wii. Anytime I say vWii, I am talking about the Wii side of the Wii U. In this guide, I will show how to mod the vWii side too, so amazing applications like USB Loader GX can be run, where you can play Wii and GameCube games directly from a hard drive. Here is the glossary of the tutorial for reference, so you can access any section at any time. The timeline is also linked in the video description. Now onto the items you will need to complete this guide. Fortunately, there isn't much you will need. First and foremost, you need a stock, unmodified Wii U console with a gamepad. Second, you'll need an SD card or micro SD card and an SD card adapter. That's a lot to say. I recommend at least 32 gigabytes SD card or higher. I have personally used 1 terabyte cards and they work fine. The SD card goes in the front slot of the Wii U console and holds all the hack files. This SD card has to stay in the Wii U at all times for your console to stay modded. You can take it out and the console will function, but you won't have access to any of the homebrew applications. Make sure your SD card is not locked. There is a small switch on the side of the SD card or SD card adapter, and it should be in the up position. If the switch is down, it will not read or write from the card and will not work properly. A Wiimote is required if you are going to mod the Wii side or vWii side of the system, which is shown in the guide and is highly recommended, as that is the best part of the system in my opinion. Wi-Fi Internet access is required to connect your Wii U to the internet, and a PC to transfer the hack files to the SD card. If your PC doesn't have an SD card slot, then you'll need a USB to SD card adapter to plug into your PC. That is the full list of items needed. Let's go ahead and get the SD card set up so we can hack the Wii U effortlessly. To start modding the system, we need to set up the SD card with the hack files. Before transferring the files to the SD card needs to be formatted to FAT32. FAT32 is the file system the Wii U console can read. A simple program called GUIformatter will do this in a breeze. Place your SD card into your PC and proceed with the next step. Alright, time to format our SD card and place the files that we need onto the SD card. The first step, go ahead and download the program GUIformat, and the second is to download the Pence Family Gaming Wii U zip file. Now, all of the files and folders that you need to mod your Wii U is located in this zipped package right here. For the SD card to work on the Wii U, we need to format it to FAT32. FAT32 is the file system that the Wii U can read. Going to this PC shows all of my hard drives and SD cards that are attached to my PC. Right here, USB drive G is the one that I want to format. If I right click and go to properties, we can see that it is currently formatted in NTFS. So that needs to be FAT32. To be able to do that, we're going to use GUIformat. So I'm going to launch this program. The good thing about GUIformat, it is very small. It does not require an installation. It's an all-encompassing app. So right here we can see USB drive G is the one that I want to format. In GUIformat, we can see it automatically selected G. You just need to make absolutely sure that you're formatting the correct drive. You don't want to format your hard drive. For the allocation unit size, you want to make sure it's 32,768, and then the volume label, you can name your SD card whatever you want except Wii U. Do not include the name Wii U. For some reason, it can cause issues. So I'm just going to name this one 64 gigabyte SD. Now you can name it whatever you want. Once again, go ahead and make sure all windows are closed or you will run into an error when you try to format. So like this window right here, I need to make sure it's closed. This window right here, I need to make sure it's closed. All windows are closed. And then you can hit the start button. It happens very fast, so let's go ahead and take a look and see if it formatted correctly. Right-clicking on your SD card, then going to properties will show you right here, file system FAT32. So it is a success. Now we need to transfer the Pence Family Gaming Wii U files to the SD card. Right here is the PFG Wii U zip file. It is zipped and compressed so that it is smaller whenever you download it via the internet. If I right click and hit extract all, it will extract this zipped archive so that we can transfer the files. So extract. Once extracted, I have access to the folder. Go inside this folder and you will see all of the different folders that you need. You know that you're in the right directory because you'll see Wii U and you will see apps. So I'm going to highlight all of these folders, and all I'm going to do is drag and drop them to my SD card right here. So my SD card is formatted to FAT32 and it has all of the folders and files that I need to be able to hack my Wii U. Now that that is complete, I'm just going to show you real quick an overview of the SD card. So whenever you go into your SD card, this should be the first thing you see. You'll see Wii U and you'll see apps. Going into the Wii U folder, this is where everything related to the Wii U is. So the apps folder inside of the Wii U folder, this relates to all of the apps that are on the Wii U side. If I back out and go to the root of my SD card and see the apps folder, this apps folder right here relates to everything on the vWii side or Wii side. All of these right here are Wii apps. So the cool thing about Wii U apps is they are all encompassing. So if I go into Wii U and then apps, we can see right here nuspli.wuhb. This is an all-encompassing app. It doesn't need folders, it doesn't need files. This single file right here is the app, and if placing this file in the Wii U apps folder, this app will show up on the Wii U home screen. You don't need to install it. You don't need to have a bunch of different files. It is all encompassing right here. Now Wii, on the other hand, if we go to the apps folder, you can see that it is not all encompassing. It actually has a folder, then you got to go into the folder and they will have a boot.dol file along with some other stuff too. So if we go here, even more. So it is not all encompassing. Going back to the root of the SD card, we can see the NAND backup. This is part of the process that we will explore here in a little bit, where you back up your NAND. The install folder, this is where whenever you try to back up your game disk, the game files will go inside of this install folder, and then you can install the game to a hard drive. All of that stuff will be covered here shortly. So we have our SD card formatted and we have the files that we need on the SD card. Let's go ahead and proceed to the next step. Power on your Wii U and go to System Settings. Connect to the internet with a Wi-Fi connection if you have not already. Make sure your system is on the latest firmware update, which is 5.5.6U for North America and 5.5.5E for Europe. You'll see which version you are currently on in the top right corner. Update now if your firmware is below the versions mentioned. Choose the second to last icon, which is System Update. Once updated to the latest firmware version, we are ready to modify the Wii U. Your SD card is set up, official firmware updated, and Wi-Fi internet access ready. We can now start the hacking process. We will now start the hacking process and install Aroma custom firmware through the website vulnerability. Go back to the home screen and launch the internet browser icon. In the top search bar, type in WiiUexploit.xyz. Once the website loads, hit the Run Exploit button and hold the B button on your gamepad until you see this menu pop up. It will take around 20 seconds to show. If nothing shows or you get an error, restart the console and reset your browser's save data by going to the Internet Browser settings in the top right and select Reset Save Data. For any other errors, go to the troubleshooting section of this video guide. Press A on NAND dumper. We will now make a backup of your Wii U NAND. The Wii U NAND is the flash memory chip on the console that stores the console's system software, save data, and other important information. It is a great idea to have a backup of this in case any issue arises in the future, so you can have an easier way of restoring your console back to normal should an issue arise. The Wii U has two versions of internal storage, or NAND size, which is 32GB or 8GB depending on your Wii U model. As a result of this, to create a full backup of your console's NAND, your SD card has to be larger than the size of your NAND. If you do not have a large enough SD card, you can skip the optional MLC backup section, which includes save files and game data, which is not needed to recover any type of console issue. In NAND dumper, make sure everything shows yes, unless you don't want to back up the MLC. Once again, the MLC backup is totally optional and not needed for console recovery purposes, but does contain all your game's saved data. Your NAND backup is unique to your system. Once you have everything selected in NAND dumper, press A to start the process. If you selected everything, this will take a decent amount of time to back up. I decided not to dump the MLC as this console was a fresh one recently formatted, so it has no game data. Once the backup is complete, power off your Wii U and take your SD card out. Plug the SD card into your PC. You should see a bunch of files that say mlc.bin part01, 02, 03 if you backed up your MLC. You'll also see EEPROM, otb.bin, slc.bin, keys.bin, and more. These are all backups of your NAND. Now, drag all of these NAND backup files into the folder. You can now drag the Wii U NAND backup folder, which now contains your NAND backup files, onto your PC in a safe spot, so you'll always have access to it. If you have a large SD card, you can also keep it on the SD card so you'll always know where it is, but it does take up a lot of space if you backed up the MLC, so that is a decision you'll have to make. Once your NAND is backed up to your PC, you can delete the folder off of your SD card if you choose to do so. Now that your NAND is backed up, in case anything goes wrong later, we can continue with the guide by installing the payload-loader onto the Wii U. Installing this payload-loader will allow us to install Aroma, which is the custom firmware that will allow Homebrew apps. Payload-loader acts as a bridge that allows you to bypass some of the Wii U's standard security and boot processes so that Aroma can be injected into the console. Plug your SD card into the Wii U system and turn it on. Launch the internet browser and type in the same site as before, which is WiiUexploit.xyz. Hit Run Exploit and then hold the X button on your gamepad to open the Environment Loader menu. Once in the environment loader, hit the A button on Aroma. You will get a warning message about this update folder existing. This is normal. Press the X button to block updates. Although it is unlikely Nintendo releases any Wii U system updates, this feature will block them just in case. On the boot selector screen, press A on Wii U menu. Once loaded into the Wii U menu, look for the payload-loader installer app, which looks like a rocket ship in a box. Press the A button to check if you can install the payload-loader. It should say it can be installed onto the Health and Safety Information app. Press the A button to select Install Update. You'll be asked if you are sure you want to install the payload-loader. Use the D-pad to select Install and press A. After installing, press A to shut down the console and then turn it right back on. How your Wii U system is set up currently, every time you want to launch Aroma, you will have to launch the Health and Safety Information app. Instead of doing this every time, we will have Aroma automatically launch when your Wii U system turns on. To set this up, launch the Health and Safety Information app from the home menu. Press A to launch Aroma Environment. Press A to launch the Wii U menu. Once you are at the Wii U menu, launch the payload-loader installer. Press A to select Check. Select Boot Options. You will be asked if you want to switch the boot title. Press A to select Switch to Payloader. When the process is finished, press A to shut down the console. The payload-loader will now be launched automatically every time you start your Wii U. To open the environment loader in the future, you will have to hold the X button while your Wii U is booting. Now it is time to make Aroma start automatically every time your console boots. Turn on your Wii U and it should automatically boot the environment loader screen. The environment loader is the custom firmware you can choose to boot into. Aroma is the most current up-to-date environment, but you can still load into other previous environments here from the past like Tiramisu, if it is present on your SD card. Press the Y button on Aroma, which will set Aroma to your default environment. Doing this will turn Aroma yellow, indicating it is now your default environment. Press A on Aroma to load into Aroma. You will now see the boot selector screen. Here you can default which menu you want to load when you turn your Wii U on. Press the Y button on the Wii U menu, which will turn it yellow, indicating this is now your default menu. Press A on Wii U menu to launch into the Wii U menu. To open the boot selector in the future, you have to hold the Start or Plus button while the console is booting, or loading the Health and Safety Information app from the Wii U home menu. Your Wii U side of the console is now fully modded and unlocked, ready for a slew of new features to use. You can now load any Wii U Homebrew application, which is explained in a separate guide, and organized on PenceFamilyGaming.com, along with being linked in the video description. I will now delve into modding the Wii side of the system, or also known as vWii or Virtual Wii. This isn't a requirement, but I highly recommend doing this as it unlocks so many more features like running Wii and GameCube games direct from a hard drive or SD card, and there really is no detriment in doing so let's go ahead and get this started. A Wiimote will need to be used to hack the vWii side of the system. You can always come back later to do this section if you don't currently have a Wiimote. Go ahead and connect a Wiimote now by pressing the red sync button on the front of the Wii U and the red sync button under the battery compartment on the Wiimote. Once the controller syncs, follow along with the next step. Launch the vWii Compat installer app from the Wii U home menu. Press A to install the Homebrew channel and wait until you see Install succeeded. Press the Home button on the gamepad to return to the Wii U menu. If the Home button doesn't work, You can hold the power button on the Wii U system to shut down and power back on. Launch the vWii icon or Wii menu icon, which will load you into the Wii side of the system. If everything went right, you should see the Homebrew channel icon on the Wii system menu. You can now use Homebrew channel to launch Wii Homebrew applications on the Wii side of the system. Launch the Homebrew channel app. Launch Priiloader installer from the list of Homebrew. Priiloader is an essential tool that adds a level of brick protection to your Wii. It loads before the Wii system menu does. The tool can apply hacks that are used to enhance, unlock, or fix many system menu features. Press the plus button on the Wii remote or an A button on the GameCube controller. Once Priiloader has installed the files, press the A button to return to the Homebrew channel app. Press the Home button on the Wiimote and select Exit to System menu to exit to the Priiloader menu. Your system will load into the Priiloader menu. If you ever want to enter this menu again in the future, run the Load Priiloader tool from the Homebrew channel. Scroll down to the system menu hacks and press A. For the following options, enable block online updates. Also enable vMFI patch v4, and yes, I said vMFI, as according to the internet, that is how it is pronounced. This vMFI patch will allow online play to be enabled once again, even though the Nintendo servers are gone. And remove deflicker if you are not using a CRT TV, which most likely is the case. Wii system settings via options button. Scroll down to Save Settings and press A. Press B to return to the main menu. Press A on Homebrew channel to bring you back to the Homebrew channel. You'll now be back in the Homebrew channel. We are now going to install the custom cIOS files to the Wii side of your system. This will allow functionality for the USB loaders like USB Loader GX or WiiFlow, so you can play games directly from a hard drive. You will do this install process a total of 4 times. Find D2X cIOS installer from the list of Homebrew and launch the program. Press A to load into the installer. Once loaded, set everything to match the following. The first row will always be D2X V11 Beta 3 vWii. If you do not see the D2X V11 Beta 3 vWii, then exit the installer and make sure your SD card is unlocked. There's a small switch on the side of the SD card that should be all the way to the top. Switch it to there if not. The second row of numbers needs to be 38 and the third row is 248. Once those numbers are set, press the A button and wait for the install. Once the installation is complete, repeat the process using the same cIOS for the first row, which is D2X V11 Beta 3 vWii. The second row is 56, and the third row is 249. Press A to install the cIOS for the second time. Once finished installing, we will do the same process a third time with the first row the same as before, D2X, V11, Beta 3, vWii, the second row is 57, and the third row is 250. Press A to install. Once complete, we will repeat a fourth and final time with the first row the same once again, D2X, V11, Beta 3, vWii. The second row is 58, and the third row is 251. Press A to install. Once you have finished all 4 cIOSs, press B to return to the Homebrew channel. The last step to finish modding the vWii side of the console is to run the patched iOS 80 installer. This app will modify the vWii system iOS to disable signature checks. This modification allows the vWii to use fake-signed Homebrew applications and channels from an SD card. This patch removes the security restrictions that prevent the vWii from running unverified applications. To start the simple process, choose the iOS 80 installer for vWii. Once at this menu, wait 30 seconds. Once you see press any button to continue, press any button on the Wiimote. This process will take 10 seconds, but if you shut down or lose power during this process, you could very likely kill the console, so please be sure not to lose power during this step. Once finished, press any button to exit. Congrats! Your Wii U and Virtual Wii are now completely modded, updated, and ready to enjoy in the current year. You are now able to follow our other related guides, which consist of the 4 methods for installing games to your Wii U, and the other is getting USB Loader GX set up to take advantage of the vWii side of your console. The rest of the guide will explore features and shortcuts with your newly modded Wii U, along with removing the hacks if you ever decide you want to stock Wii U again. Let's start with the features. The Homebrew App Store is installed to your Wii U home menu. The HB App Store was created by For the Users, which is a group dedicated to making Homebrew easier to access and run. Running the app gives you access to a large amount of Homebrew apps and games with descriptions for each app. The Aroma Ready section are apps tailored to run on the Aroma firmware, which is the most up-to-date firmware your Wii U is running. Other apps that aren't in the Aroma Ready section may not run due to being created for outdated firmwares. Download apps direct to your Wii U with ease using this app. So what happens if your custom firmware Aroma gets updated, and how do you update? It is a very easy process. On your Wii U menu is Aroma Updater app, where you can check if your Aroma firmware is up to date, and if not, you can update automatically with one click. Simply launch the Aroma Updater app, which is a blue icon with an arrow pointing down. Press A to check for updates. Here we can see Aroma has an update. For all the options that state has update, go ahead and check the box to update. By pressing the R button on top of the gamepad, will bring you to the plugin and modules page. Select the plugins that need updates. Once checked, press the plus button on the gamepad to update and press A to confirm. Once complete, press A to restart the console and you are done updating. A great feature with Aroma is the always running plugin system menu. Pressing the button combination of L, D-pad down, and select at the same time opens the menu. Here you can manage settings for a variety of different plugins that are always running in the background. Starting off, going into better settings will allow you to mirror the gamepad to the screen. This allows you to view the settings app directly on your TV and control it without the gamepad, which is impossible without this plugin. You can see me controlling the settings with the controller while the settings are displayed on the TV. Normally, the settings is only displayed on the gamepad. FTPU is another relevant plugin if you want access to your Wii U files directly from your PC. FTPU shows your Wii U's IP address and port number, so running an FTP application on your PC like FileZilla will grant you access to the files. Simply entering the IP address and port number in the PC program FileZilla or any other FTP program gives direct access to all the Wii U files so you can transfer or backup files on the fly. Be extremely careful doing this, as you could screw up your system by moving or deleting files by accident. If you hold the plus button on your Wii U gamepad while it is booting, the boot selector menu will appear. Here you can set what menu you want to load into by pressing A on your selection. You can also select what menu you want to auto boot when your console starts up. If I scroll down to vWii system menu and press Y, the vWii system is now selected and highlighted yellow. The vWii menu will now load anytime the console boots. Keep whatever default menu you want. This can save time if you mostly game on the vWii side of the system, since it will boot directly to that menu. Holding the X button while your console boots up will bring you to the environment loader. This is mainly used if you want to run a different homebrew environment instead of Aroma like Tiramisu. There really is no reason to run Tiramisu, as Aroma superseded Tiramisu and is better in every way, but there are a few apps that may only work on Tiramisu. In that case, you could use this menu to swap to Tiramisu on the fly. Just like before, the yellow highlight indicates the option as the auto boot, and you can change this by pressing the minus button to remove the auto boot or Y button to highlight and make an auto boot. Holding the B button while booting will bring you to the Holding the B button while booting will bring you to the payload-loader menu. Here you can run different payloads and access the NAND dumper if you ever need to back up your NAND again. Pretendo is an open source community project that replaces Nintendo's official servers after they were shut down in April of 2024, allowing Wii U owners to play games online once again. Not every game is fully working, but Pretendo is in active development, so hopefully they'll get close to full compatibility. There is a link in the video description that shows progress on every game and service. To take advantage of the Pretendo network, a few easy steps are involved. One, which is going to the plugin system config menu by pressing the L button plus D-pad down plus select button. Go down to Inkay and press A. Select network selection and make sure connect to Pretendo network is true. Once true, press B multiple times to back out and save settings. The next step is to create a Pretendo account by either creating the Pretendo account directly on the Wii U or going to the Pretendo website directly. To create one on your Wii U, you will have to create a whole new Wii U profile or link the Pretendo account to a profile that is not already linked with a Nintendo ID. You cannot use the same Nintendo ID account, unfortunately, so you won't have your save games automatically on this new account from your previous profile. To create one on your Wii U, you will have to create a whole new Wii U profile or link the Pretendo account to a profile that is not already linked with a Nintendo ID. You cannot use the same Nintendo ID account, unfortunately, so you won't have your save games automatically on this new account from your previous profile, but I will show how to transfer these game saves manually in the next section if you care enough about them. For the first option, I'm going to show how to set up Pretendo directly on the console. If you already have a Wii U profile that isn't linked to a Nintendo ID, like shown here, by clicking your profile picture and it says no ID linked, proceed by hitting the create/link button. If your profile is already linked with the Nintendo ID, you'll need to hit the switch user button and create a new profile, and then hit the create/link button on the new profile. Just hit next until you get to the link Nintendo ID window. Here, hit no, which will bring us to the process of setting up a Pretendo account. Enter your credentials throughout and choose a Pretendo network ID. My Pretendo ID is now set up. For the second option, we can create a Pretendo account directly on the website if you would rather do it that way. Go to the Pretendo register site and input your info. On your console, for the "Do you already have a Nintendo ID?" you'll choose yes because you just made one on the site. Now just enter the same info that you input on the Pretendo website and your Pretendo account will get linked to the Wii U profile. Now we can see both profiles, which are both linked and on the Pretendo network. The first setup we did directly on the console, and the other from the website. If you already had a Nintendo ID set up and you had to create a new profile to set up your Pretendo account, the Savemii Homebrew app can help transfer your saves from your old Nintendo ID profile to the new Pretendo profile. This also works for transferring saves from any profile to profile on the Wii U system, along with allowing you to transfer the saves to a different console. In my example, I am pretending Pence fan profile is the one I want to back up. So select the profile you want to back up and launch the Savemii app on the Wii U menu home screen. In the Savemii app, you can back up single saves either on the Wii U or vWii side. Selecting either option will show the saves available to back up. A better option, if you want to back up everything in one go, choose the Batch Backup option, which will back up every save. Selecting the Backup All backs up the saves on both sides. Once backed up, I exit the app and load into the other profile that I want to transfer saves to. Launch the Savemii app and select Batch Restore. I want to restore the Wii U side. I move down and select the backup file. Select the SD user and select the profile you want to back up to. In my case, PenceFam02 is the profile where I want the save to go. Include common save is yes, and make sure wipe target save data is yes, as you'll get corrupt files if you don't. Also, enabling this option will delete the save data for the games that are currently on PenceFam02. They'll be completely replaced with Profile 1. I only had one game save on the Wii U, but normally you'd see a ton here if you did a large batch backup. Pressing Y selects each item. Once ready, press A to restore and A to confirm. Once exiting the app, and going to storage, we can see that Shovel Knight now has the backed up save from PenceFam and loads right up when the game is launched. What if you wanted to remove the Aroma hack because you want to sell the system or you just want a stock machine? Not a problem, it is quite easy. Here is the process of removing the hacks from your Wii U. Obviously, don't follow these steps if you want to keep the hacks. Once removed and you want to add hacks again, just follow the guide again. To remove the Wii U hacks, launch the payload-loader from the Wii U menu. Press A to select check. Select boot options. You will be asked if you want to switch the boot title. Press A to select switch back to Wii U menu. When the process is finished, press the A button to shut down the Wii U. The console will now boot again into the Wii U menu. The payload-loader can still be launched by launching the Health and Safety application. So, turn on your Wii U and launch the Health and Safety app. The Wii U should auto-boot into Aroma after selecting the Health and Safety app, but if it doesn't, just press A on Aroma if you are presented with this screen. Once loaded into Aroma, launch the payload-loader installer from the Wii U menu. Press A to select check. Select remove. You will be asked if you really want to remove the payload-loader. Select remove again. When the process is finished, press A to shut down the console. All hacks are removed from the system besides the vWii side. You can now format your Wii U to bring it back to factory settings without causing any issues. When you format your system, it will set the vWii or Wii side of your system to stock settings. The best is yet to come for your Wii U. Don't miss the next videos from Pence Family Gaming to see what your console can really do. Head over to PenceFamilyGaming.com to view the next videos in the series or view the link in the video description. Take care.